Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to All Beer Inside, the Quarantine Edition episodes. Joining me for this week's pandemic pod, we have the Bière Scout.
Hey, Carp. Thank you for inviting me, for having me here in your podcast.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us today. So as we try to start off every episode, join us for a beer. What are you having?
I'm having the fresh IPA from Wood Brothers in Ontario. I picked it up this past weekend. I went there and I'm having this. Actually, the name is pretty original, Citra+Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very good IPA.
Yeah. I'm having from Nick Allen's brewery, Knowlton Co.'s Framboise cream ale, or raspberry cream ale for the English speakers. So let's do a virtual cheers, or as I say on the show, toast.
Toast. There you go.
Oh,
it's a very good one, by the way.
The framboise, the raspberry.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, this is the first time I've had it. It's very tasty. This is a good summer beer. I could sit in my backyard and drink a bunch of these.
Yeah, I went to Knowlton Brewery like around a month ago, and they have a pretty nice patio, and they have these refreshing beers. They're very good place.
Yeah, we had interviewed them during the winter, during one of our big storms, but we still made it out there, and he was showing us, like, here's what my beer garden in the back's going to be, and we're like, we'll be back this summer, and then COVID, so maybe not so much.
Yeah, it's not that easy.
So you're the Bière Scout, and I understand you are 5 friends trying to finish all the beer in the world. Let's tell my viewers about that.
Yeah, it's a pretty big objective up there, but that's what we're trying to do. So basically, we're Venezuelan friends. We're all from Venezuela, and right now, like, we immigrated and we're living in different countries. Actually, one of us is living here in Montreal. I'm in Brossard. And another one is in Mississauga, Ontario. One is in Chile, Santiago, and the other one is in Colombia, in Bogota. So basically, we were friends forever, and we have this soccer chat group where we talk about, life. And this day, one of our friends, Miguel, he came with this idea. Oh, we're always talking about beer and craft beer and all this. Why don't we open like an account where we can take pictures and maybe rate the beers just for fun? So at this point, like, we started rating beers, and whatever we were drinking, we were putting there. If you see our first pictures, they're like no explanation, no sensation, no nothing, and just like a random rate. And at some point we stop and we say, like, hey, listen, we know nothing about beer, and we've been drinking like industrial beer forever. So why don't we start like learning a bit more about craft beer or beer in general, actually, like what's in it, what's the work, because at some point it's actually insulting that we're rating brewer work knowing nothing about beer, right? So we stopped doing that. And well, at some point, some of my friends were like, oh, I don't have time. One of my other friends, he just had a kid at the moment, so he was taking care of his child. And well, some of them keep there, like taking care of some, like all our visuals, like our logo and everything is my friend Miguel in Chile. Mm-hmm. But most of the time is me taking the pictures, and all like beers from Montreal, Ontario, and the US. It's mostly me.
Yeah, I do see your Instagram stories. You have Wood Brothers, Vermont, Massorum, Les Insulaires, Bas Canada. So you're kind of like more or less sticking around that area. And I could see from some of the posts, it's like, oh, North American beers. Oh, South American beers. It's like, wait a second. So cool.
Yeah, but that was part of the fun of the account.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your follower base is huge. It's, over 13,000 followers. That's pretty gigantic for a steady Instagram account. Where do you think that came from?
Well, I think it was at the beginning. It was a lot of interaction because we were 5 guys, so we were interacting a lot, going places, even in Bogota. I mean, and believe it or not, our huge fans are in Chile, mostly. And yeah, Yeah, they really like our pictures, and usually you like better whatever you don't have.
Hmm.
So when you post something from Florida, people in Montreal are crazy about it. When you post something from you know uh, North America, people in Chile are like, oh wow, what's that? So it's been a back and forth with the followers actually, but at the end it's a community. I
Hmm.
mean, it's all friends, a lot of people, and yeah, we have a lot of interaction. And before I forget our name, it was our friend in Mississauga, Adrian. We were thinking, we wanted to do like, okay, how are we going to call it? So it was the Bière Scout, but it was taken already. It was a guy that didn't post the thing, but he took the name. So it was like, oh, why don't we make it like French and English, like the Bière Scout?
Hmm.
So it was like, thank to Adrian, that part there. And after that, it was like, oh, okay, it's cooler in English because, people like English better than Spanish or whatever. So it's more international. So well, we keep it in English as much as we can.
Well, you more or less have the two out of the three major North American languages spoken. When you think about it, it's pretty much English for most of Canada, most of the U.S., and then Spanish for the USA, and then French for Canada. So you're kind of getting that all appealing, especially
Exactly.
having friends from Chile, Colombia. Chile and Colombia are Spanish, or is that a mistake
Yeah.
on my?
Yep.
Okay, I don't want to like.
No, no,
Oh
no.
no, it's Chile, and I'm like, wait, I've never heard of Chile. So, yeah, so there you go. So you have your follower base on your three major North American languages, or actually America's languages when you think about it. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Now yourself, how did you discover craft beer? Like what brought you from industrial or macro to micro and nano?
I gotta say it was economics of the house. At some point you realize you cannot have 12 beers anymore. So instead of spending $33 in a box of a case of X industrial beer, you say, okay, I can spend 20 and three good beers that I like. So I remember always talking with this another of our friends, Marco, is like, oh, instead of having six or industrial beer, why don't we go? Actually, we were going to Malte Up in Verdun. I
Mm-hmm.
was living in the area, so we were picking like you know. Irish reds or brown ales, more like beginner styles. And we were always going like Micro du Lac or Les Trois Mousquetaires, things that we believed at the time that was like more basic, even though it's not.
Mm-hmm.
But that was we were enjoying. But it was when I went to Lake SPC, and my girlfriend had this huge map of La Tour de la Gaspésie with all the breweries. And it was like, oh, you're such a hipster. Like, what do you want to do this? Oh, no, I was complaining the whole thing. And then started trying like Pit Caribou. And, I was like, oh, this is good. Yeah, I mean, like, this is something like I can enjoy actually. And I can say it was a mix of both that started bringing me to the good side of beer.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't done Gaspé personally. I do have a map of the Canton de l'Est, or the Eastern Townships, as we
Yeah,
say in
yeah.
English. So I had a bunch of plans to go to Vermont and Maine and stuff this year, but the world decided to put that on hold. So I'm just gonna stay local and go to Ontario and hit there, and then stay in Quebec, obviously, and maybe I'll finally make it to Gaspé. It is a long drive though, so it's a little.
Yeah,
It's I think it's like a 5-day weekend type of thing to go to the Gaspé. So.
yeah, you gotta take your time because also you have many activities like in the whole region there are so many beautiful scenery landscapes that you have to visit if you're there. If you drove all the way there, you have to take the time also to enjoy the region. And yeah, it is fantastic. I think we're fortunate in Canada in general, but in Quebec we have such an amazing breweries. um, Gaspé, like you say, in the whole area, Canton de l'Est, it's full of amazing breweries. Ams, Comté, I don't know, La Marfray,
Mhm.
etc., etc. I mean, I actually learn a bit of geography thanks to craft beer right now also. But we're fortunate to have amazing beer in here.
Awesome. You already mentioned where the username come from. Your inspiration and your styles behind your photography. Where's that come from?
To be honest, it's just try and error. We're posting some things, then of course you see some pictures and you see, okay, but this guy added a black background in the. How did he do that? And sometimes I ask people, and people ask me like, oh, what are you doing like this? And I have no problem sharing like whatever trick we could have. But I think it's the same media. It's Instagram. And, you see something, you try to not to copy, but for me, it's a challenge. And this is, I'm crystal clear with this, even with my friends, that I love trying beers, but the photography part, I really like try it as a challenge, because I always, oh, they did that, I can do it too, and try to to make it myself is awesome too. But I really love like taking my beer outside and maybe going in the park. Sceneries always is, if we have a sunny day, blue sky, that's wonderful. Like I really want to be outside and taking pictures.
Yeah, I could tell you do like there's a lot of outdoor photos with beautiful, nice days out. So not to fool people, we obviously have bad weather days as well, but you seem to be able to capture like that right angle with the right amount of sky in the background. Very nice sunny days, especially your Masorum photos. I'm very impressed by. When you take the Masorum photos, are they near Masorum, or is that like you take them home and then?
Yeah, it's a bit of, sometimes I see things and I take the opportunity, like some of my smoothies. What was the name of that? Jus de Mort. There
Okay.
was this smoothie that they made back in winter. I was buying the growler and I was taking the picture right at spot. Like, okay, give me a beer. I'm going to take a picture right here because, there is the green tank, the snow, or, the lighting. So sometimes it's just a moment of inspiration, and some others is like to really thinking. But at the end of the day, the hard work is made by the people designing the labels or even the names. So I take ideas for the name, I take ideas for the label, the can art. I mean, they are the hard worker there.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes the label alone sells me, like Pixel. A lot of microbrasserie Pixel. I'm just like, oh, I'm an old school gamer.
Yeah,
I love it. I'm grabbing all these beers. I don't care what they taste like. Just the art alone. Masorum, just their wild labels come out of nowhere. It's really
absolutely.
amazing. Even Pub Brewski. I mean, whoever they've hired as their graphic designer, amazing. So, but then there's the simplicity behind things like Wood Brothers right now. Is just like, here's the beer. That's it. We know we taste good. That's all that matters. So
Yeah, you have a bit of both. When your product quality is guaranteed, like in the case of Missouri and Wood Brothers, whatever you're buying is good quality. But then when you're a new player in the game, like Pixel, you said you have to stand out yourself a bit, because you walk into a bottle shop, and you have 100 breweries. Somehow you have to make it visible to people, right? Like it's the case of Knowlton, like with the little cats. Oh my God, that's crazy. People just grab a beer and then they discover it's a good beer, but they never took it the first time because they thought the beer was good. It's just the cat is cute.
yeah. Well, now there's their competition is Nebu, and they have dogs. So there might be a
They
little
have dogs.
dog versus cat fight in the brewery world coming up. But
There
yeah,
are so many. And these guys in Florida, they are tripping animals in Doral, and they are tripping animals. So imagine they have the whole animals to make a new beer every single, or a new label, a new marketing, a new idea. That's right.
it's really the creative force behind who you have. Now, I've always said I have a friend who is in the comic book industry, and I've always told him, I ever start a brewery, you're designing all my labels. That's it. Like, sorry, I'm stealing you away from your company, or you do that part time, but you come work for me full time because you're a comic book artist. And comic books are more popular than they've ever been because of things like Marvel and DC. You get that right comic book artists, I think that, and the right kind of naming convention too, depending on what you're naming your beer, plus the quality of the beer as well, obviously. It's just all like a perfect storm to create a great brewery in my own personal idea. So
I'm absolutely, I agree with you. Is you need to work in both the marketing part, and of course, I have usual this conversation with friends that also sell the personality itself of the brewery, right?
mm-hmm.
Like sometimes you have breweries that maybe you don't like because the brewery itself, the tap room is too dark, or I don't know, people are rude, I don't know, whatever example, negative example, and their beer is amazing. People don't go. So why they don't go if the beer is amazing? So you have to have a bit of everything there to be like successful, especially in this moment, at this moment when there's so many breweries, and it's like every week now we have a new one. Well, new Saint Baron, I think.
Okay.
It's in Gatineau, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I've seen people lining outside, and it's like, all right, it's a new one we have to visit.
Yeah, for sure. It's just looking at Livingstone and Barbados. I'm sure I mispronounced that, but they're like beautiful farm locations that I never thought I'd go visit a brewery at. And so they're on the list of places I need to go to one, try the beer, but two, be part of the atmosphere. It's the same. It's the Hill Farmstead scenario where the beer is amazing and the views are even better. So.
And it is amazing. Like when you visit places like Livingstone and Wood Brothers, you forget about the city. You go there, like you feel like in the real farm, and you bring your own food, and you're there, like talking basically with everyone because they open once a week. Not everyone is there.
Yeah.
So it is amazing. It's a great atmosphere. Yeah.
You mentioned on the Instagram DM for collabs. Have you collabed with any breweries before?
Well, actually, sometimes like with people, like if they need any like either picture or beer exchange, like, oh, I got an extra back in the day and you have an extra of these, with Wood Brothers. Actually, last winter I made a collab beer. I'm gonna put a huge air quotes here. uh, we made a beer called the Scout IPA. It was Louis and Dan recipe. They made it. I was just there having beer and speaking with them, but it was an amazing experience, and the beer was good. So, but that's the kind of things I think, like what I enrolled in this adventure of craft beer. At some point, I was posting pictures that I usually buy or bought in the bottle shop or an IGA, whatever. But at some point I said, like, hey, you know what? If you want to put a face and a name on the account, you have to take the car. Mm-hmm. So I started going to Canton de l'Est and visiting all these breweries there. And then I was going to Ontario. And, that's the, when we talk about collaboration, it's just visiting the brewery. Like we have gone to Emporium in Quebec City, and also Knowlton, and we've gone inside the brewery Sir John that making also amazing beer. We have they're lucky to be inside the brewery and talk with the brewers, and that's the kind of collaboration that we ask for, like just to talk. What are you doing? What are your goals? And like talk about your product.
So talking shop when you think about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, awesome. Do you brew yourself? Have you ever brewed a beer on your own?
No. I'm starting to have the curiosity, but more about combinations, flavors. What if we do this? Why don't you make that? I know it's not always easy. Like brewers have a huge schedule, probably the whole year, but at the end of the day, you're trying always or I'm starting to figure out, oh, what if we use this hop with this malt or with this? But let me tell you, like I'm a very bad cook in general. Like I have my recipes like risotto, and mushroom risotto, and a couple of more things, surprises, but that's it. So I cannot imagine like for real, like making a beer from scratch it's really hard. There is a point that is not people think it's just beer, but at some point these guys are scientific. They're like a scientist. It's crazy. So
Yeah,
I'm not there yet.
yeah, no, I've always say it is a very scientific thing, and you know, sometimes science creates amazing things, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, why didn't we ever try this before? And now all of a sudden I'm drinking what you thought would be a great scientific experiment. So it's very, very enjoyable that way. And yeah, I don't do it myself. I'd like to maybe start with an extract kit to make it simple to start, and then possibly build on that. But I could be very by the numbers, by the book type of person. So maybe if I'm just sticking to the one recipe over and over and over, I should be okay. I think if I try and do new things, I might get thrown off, and then I get bad beer all the time. So that's what I'm worried about.
Oh, well, that's a case of one of my friends. He's a home brewer, and he's like, Marcus, I'm making so much beer, like to try and to try new recipes. That at the end I have to drink all that with my friends, so I cannot try whatever is in the market because I cannot waste all this beer. So it's kind of two worlds there. And but that's for me, just going to a brewery and talking with the guys, and you always get the new information. Some of them know a lot about yeast and others about the water, and they focus a lot in the water profile or in the hops. And then you get information, and it's not like you're going to be like making beer, but at least you can understand better why your beer is your IPA is 6 weeks old but still green.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not the hops, maybe it's the water, maybe it's the yeast. So it's interesting to go there and understand what they're making.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite beers that you are your goes to? I mean, so like I'd say Masorum, but Masorum doesn't have like the one steady beer all the time. They're always making new beer. Whereas I think Wood Brothers is the same. They're constantly changing the names of their beers and what their beers are. But what are some kind of go-to regular beers that you have?
Well, let me tell you that like the first one that's actually made me wow and made me like think about craft beer differently. Well, first of all, I wouldn't say hate, but I didn't like IPAs. I didn't like stouts. I was like, oh my God, who can drink this? Like, Then this day I went to Element, Los Tabernacles, from back Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try that one. And that was like, okay, what is this? That was like my first IPA, milkshake IPA. Actually, it was the double one, the 8%. But it was like, okay, but this is different. I mean, it's sweet, but it's hot. And that was the one. And I always, even though right now I don't enjoy milkshake IPAs as much as I did at the beginning, that's a one that I always try to get because I really like it. But in terms of favorite beer of style, I always have to go with type of Marzen or brown ales, or even like a good Pilsner. It's IPAs are I can say are my favorites, but at the same time is what the market gives you. Right now, it's full of IPAs, so it's like the new one. Every day there is a new one. So you're like obliged to to try them.
Yeah.
But in terms of something I really enjoy, like Marsens, even like Dunkel, this kind of like a bit more Belgian, I really like it. Like Marsen from Bose, I loved it. That beer is always like I'm pretty sure it's the beer that I've bought the most in my life.
Awesome. So when it's safe to travel again, any beer vacations you've never been on that you want to go on?
There's so many, for real. Like, well, actually, I'm planning to go in September to visit, I guess, BC. So I'm planning to knock on Frette Sauvage, the new brewery in, well, I think it's not even open, but I've seen some pictures here and there. And I mean, I can tell already it's going to be amazing. So that's more challenging for me because I really want to try. Like, I mean, if it is another IPA brewery, probably it'd be like, okay. But when you see something different, as you said, more elaborated, more complex, it's something that I really want to give it a try and to understand, of course, always, because what you try to do is to like widen your knowledge and everything you know, right? So that's one for sure. But I would love to. One of my friends, Remy, he made one of these trips from the whole East Coast all the way to Florida. He passed by Virginia. He went to Parrish and is it in Missouri or Mississippi? I'm a bit confused now, but
Yeah.
you know, I love to do something like that where you know it's just a beer trip. It'll be amazing.
Yeah, I had talked about that with my friends. Somebody planned out the perfect Canadian beer road trip. I'm gonna have to. I'll have to try and find it. Me and my friends spoke about it, but it's quite literally you start in eastern tip of Canada all the way to Vancouver, and then you kind of go up and back, and you hit something.
Oh, wow.
So it's 60 days worth of driving plus stopping, plus they included sleeping and recovering from your hangovers because of all the breweries.
No, that'd be pretty amazing. But we live in such a huge country
Yes.
that you need a lot of time.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
I drove from Montreal to Calgary. It's long. It's very long. So
No, I guess so. I guess so. It's how long is it? It's something like 3 days.
It was 2.5 days. Made it to Winnipeg, stopped there for the night, and then it was myself and my brother-in-law, and we just kept switching drivers. So it was long. Perfect. So what's next for the Bière Scout? What where do you see the future coming with the Instagram?
Well, we're always my friends and I were always talking like you know every time I try to encourage them like, oh, is there something new in Colombia? Is there something new, and why don't we do this, that? But I have to say that I like, for me, is keep growing, keeping like track of all the new breweries. It's not much for me. It's not anymore about Instagram. It's more about people, like the people you meet in the way, like all the huge community we have. I mean, we're like 15 or 20. I say huge, but it's amazing because sometimes in this I'm a foreign, and you know you have to start from scratch. So I mean, when I came here, I have my soccer team and my soccer friends, but then you cannot play soccer anymore. So it's like, okay, let's drink beer, but now you have your beer friends, and at some point your friends, period, not beer friends anymore. So that's for me is amazing, and for me it's more about that. But in terms of projects of the accounts, we don't have any in the near future.
Okay, cool. So let people know where they could find you, your Instagram, your Facebook, and stuff like that.
We only have Instagram at the moment. We tried a bit with Facebook, but it's always the Bière Scout on Instagram. And well, you can contact us. We're always there, like talking with people, like trying to be as active as possible, and always talking about beer.
Awesome. And when it's safe to, I've mentioned it on all the other shows I've done. We're all going to have to get together as a group of beer bloggers and Instagrammers and get together and
Please
have some beers when it's safe to. So.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And once again, thank you so much for having me, giving me the opportunity and the chance to talk with you and to meet one more beer friend.
Yeah, just another typical beer-looking guy with the beard and white and all that stuff. But yeah, you know, like yourself,
Why not?
You're not from Canada, so you're creating more diversity in the beer industry, and that is important. So.
Absolutely. I mean, every time I see like some of our friends that are women and it's amazing how much they know about beer, and it's amazing they're not afraid of giving their opinion and integrating, and I've been always as a Latino, foreign, whatever, I've been always integrated to the culture and welcome to whatever brewery, either French or English. So and I cannot be happier in my experience, for real.
Yeah, 100%. As for us, at All Beer Inside on all the social media, allbeerinside.com is the website where you can find everything, where we have a monthly get-together or trivia night where you can listen to me and my friends be terrible friends to each other. And at the end of every show, as I always say, drink craft, not crap.